Hey, good morning, everyone. How are you? Happy Thursday to you. Glad that you're here, and so is the world. And we're all here breathing. Now, smoke is still here in Colorado, lots of it. It gets to the back of your throat. So, how are you doing? How's everything in your world? Are you advancing? Are you raising up higher? Are you reaching higher? Are you reaching within to reach higher? That's where all your answers lie. It's when you. So I thought that what we would do this morning, I'm going to be on the Rex Bear show later on this afternoon. Um, Definitely go over there and check them out. And what we're going to do today is that we're going to follow up on some of the recent events, the CME, and got a couple of topics that I think you're going to find really interesting. So why don't we go ahead and get started? I'll get us over there, and here we go. Okay, so just kind of review here what we saw yesterday. Now I'm stopping it here. This is solar matter. This is ejecta. That's what they call that, and this is what is mixed in with that CME that we saw yesterday, in which there were two, top of the one, and these were long duration events, right? Here is a view where you can actually just see it coming. So we know that it's coming. So we're over here at integrated weather. I'll leave the links. And just thought I'd pull up a couple of things and just see how our planet is handling this. And we can get this going. And right now, we're doing fine. KP index is not up. We'll see what happens this afternoon. This is what we'll use as a threshold. If we get a KP index above 9, that's extreme. But as it looks right here, not a problem. All right. So let's go over here. Let's see how the okay. Right as we're getting near the end, you can see that there's an increase in the density protons. Yep. See it again? I'll stop it right there. So it's climbing. Something that, tells us that maybe it's just the early tail or last of the one that went through the other time. Here's a good one. Kind of get it up here for you. So this is telling us that you want to be here at 0, right? And these are protons, electrons. And you can go down in here and you can set your settings on that. So we're getting early reverberations or early impact. I don't know what you'd want to call that. Let's go over here and let's see what the magnetopause is doing. Let's see how it's handling. And this is where we'll see this. We'll actually see this as it pulls up. Apologize for the handling it fine. It's what it should do. Intensity is showing, but all in all, our magnetopause is doing just fine. All right, let's go up and see what the Y cut looks like. This is our planet, and our magnetic connectivity to the sun, to the planets, and to the cosmos. All right, let's see what we got going here. Listen, I have seen this thing completely whacked out, and it's showing some intensity. It's getting a little warmer over there, but you can see still moderate temperature. All right, no big deal on that one. I mean, this is all good signs. We'll see what happens when I do this report this afternoon. All right, let's check this out. So this is coming directly off the sun. This is the solar wind. This is plasma. That's what this shows. You can see the temperature. Plasma can get cold. All right, I don't see anything. Then just remember all this. We'll look at this. And then let's check and see how the pressure waves are doing on the inner planets here. So you can just look up here at the legend. Here's Earth right here. So this is giving us several different views. These are the other planets, Mars, Mercury. You can see the satellites, they're stereo A, stereo B. Hello, Sept. There you go. So, wow. All right. So you're going, well, Wayne, what are you seeing here? All right. So you just have to look at the lines. All right. So this is the inner magnetic connectivity line, right, from our planet. Normally, it's trailing out behind us. That's how it's supposed to go. But you can see right here that something, and I have a sense that it's probably reacting to what's coming at us, the solar flare, that, look at this. It's just off the chart. And you can see it down here, but it's so compacted in its view that you can see there's a strong magnetic pull towards our sun. Wow. So that tells me that, our magnetopause is already reacting to the X-class flares. Okay, that's pretty cool. So we'll check this out later on. Now, we are over here at Skywatch Media, and it's earthfrequencyradio.com. I've been seeing these stories, and it's actually, I would say, the first ones I started reading about were last winter. Then there seemed to be a subsidence to this, right? Then the stories started showing up again this summer. And it's becoming now not just, which we're going to find out here, in Brazil, but it is now impacting both sides of the South American continent. Something's going on here, folks. And as you can see right here, there is something happening near the equator, is all I can say. My hypothesis, in which is joined by many others, is that we are seeing the tilt of our planet. Now, our planet It's like a top. It wobbles. This is a natural effect. But it is not natural now that when you start seeing these unexpected, more frequent tidal surges and tidal pools. Something is going on, ladies and gentlemen. And let's look at this video here. I'll try to get it up large. This is a tidal surge. Yeah. Okay. Now, if that isn't weird enough, and I apologize for this down here. So on August 13th, the waters of the Atlantic Ocean receded near this town in Brazil. The waters returned to those coastal areas of Uruguay and Brazil some 36 hours later. Then on August 16th, a tidal surge struck the coast of Costa Rica. Something, to me, this is all indication of something much bigger going on. Let's see what we can get here. Let me show you this one. Here you go. Now, you're not hearing about this in the news. This is a tidal surge. It's a tidal wave, folks. And it's not that it's just a freaky phenomenon. It's happening more and more. Look at this. So you tell me what's taking place here. Now, they're saying it's a metro tsunami is the case. It says meteo tsunamis are generated when rapid changes in barometric pressure cause the displacement of a body of water, in contrast to ordinary impulse type tsunami sources. A traveling atmospheric disturbance normally interacts with the ocean over a limited period of time, from several minutes to several hours. Ramos goes on to say, further explain that this meteorological disturbance was caused by gravitational waves, not by winds. I'll let that sink in. Gravitational waves, and not winds. All right, let's look at one more here. Well, I'm going to tell you what, that's a bad day at the beach if you're down on the beach wanting to get a little raise. You know what I'm saying? And you got your Corona. Jack. Look at that. Are you hearing about this in the news? No. And folks, it goes on. We'll let the video continue. Look at this. Surf's up, anybody? Whoa. You know what? Holy, look at that. Where is this not in the news? Holy crapola. Whoa. At what point does common sense just evaporate? You know what I'm saying on this one? Look at this. Whoa. You see why we need to get our collective consciousness here together, folks? Our planet, she be a changing, folks. Well, I got to tell you what. Now, I know my good friend Rex Bear did a thing on this. I have seen a lot of others where we keep seeing these anomalies. Well, check this one out, folks.
Tuesday, August 15th, 5 o'clock Mountain Time, 2017.
So this is from Mr. MB33. Now, is this a coincidence? Gravitational waves. Think about that. I'll leave the link here. So, what's going on, folks? Are we seeing that maybe this was caused, as they're saying, particularly one thought that it could have been this asteroids that are passing very close to us? I don't know. But obviously, our Earth is changing. And I'll leave these links on here. Look at the Nile River turning to blood. Almost would give you the feeling that we're living in a period of ages. Now, most of us would naturally say it's a chemical. Something chemical came in. Well, I don't know. I wasn't there. Obviously, the person shooting this video is. And they are looking at this, and you can tell they're obviously going, what happened? It ain't supposed to be this color. You know what that looks like? It looks like the sun picture I took the other day on Monday. Doesn't it? No, on Tuesday, excuse me. Yeah. So what's going on here? Are we witnessing natural phenomenon? Let me tell you, start watching what is happening in Idaho. You know, you can say that it is normal to have quakes, mini quakes. Swarms is what they call them. But what I counted last night, there were in a 24-hour period of time over 42 so-called swarm quakes, measuring anywhere from 2.3 to as high as 5.1. That was a 24-hour period yesterday, and that has been going on now for quite a while. I don't know. And this is to my point right here. All right. One last one. Let's talk about, I'll leave the link. Now, this report I get, and you can subscribe to it, the Neil Keenan. This publication is laying claim to the fact that what we are witnessing with these super storms, Harvey, now Irma, Hosea, I think's right behind that one, intensity that we haven't seen in the Atlantic for quite some period of time. But what they are saying, that this is actually coming out of a naval facility in Wisconsin that is now basically kind of hooked up to these other ELFs. So, and you know what happens with these facilities is that what they do, they superheat the ionosphere. And, well, you know, the theories abound. But listen, Dean Worthington over at geoengineeringweather.com, I believe it is, I agree with him. This man knows what he's talking about. And the military, the industrial military complex, government, has always known. Henry Kissinger said back in the 70s, and I still remember this, he was in a forum, and in this forum, he made this statement. He said, in the future, it wouldn't matter the size of an army. He said, because the first nation that can control the weather can control the world. And you think about it. If you could control and manipulate the weather, then you could technically wreak havoc upon your opponent and never have to spend a dime, not have to drop one bit of blood from your citizenry or your servants, whatever point of view you like to take, and you could basically dictate which part of the world would be in drought, which part of the world would be in flood, which part of the world would be in the land of milk and honey. That's a lot of power. So the question is, can they weaponize to such the extent of creating these superstorms? Could this be what we're seeing on the Mimic radar that we saw over here in Skywatch Media? I mean, you could really get lost into this in one way, but then again, I think you'd be real foolish not to bring it into your data banks. When you're trying to solve a complex algorithm, how do you do that? Do you simply ignore the factors that you don't want to consider because they may alter your point of view, your reality? No. When you're looking at a complex problem, you have to consider all factors because they would all impact your outcome. Wow. Okay. So what is yours ideas? Now listen, I have behind on the message board for the day, as you can read, has the earth tilted? Is what we're seeing taking place at the equator now in South America? And I'd be very curious as to see if we're not seeing other anomalous effects around the equator, because that's where you would begin to actually see the true effect if the earth had actually begun to tilt out of the normal 26, 28 degrees. And that's how far it typically does. I also remember a couple of years ago, all the hoopla about the supermoon. Remember that? And in that, I remember it being reported in the news media by the scientific community that the moon was going to be the closest position in the earth in, I don't know how many decades, hundreds of years, I don't know. It was supposed to have been, you know, one of these rare events that wouldn't be happening for another 40 plus years. I don't think the moon has really gotten any further away. I can tell you these days, when you're looking at it through a telescope, the thing is really bright. I mean, really bright. And then I think about, all right, how someone wrote, and I think it was very true, that today you can get people that are now taking their cell phones, right? And the little tiny camera on this. Now, you want to know why you can get so many anomalies if you're taking sky pictures with this? Because that's what happens. But seriously, these cameras are as good in the technology that they basically circumvent what was traditionally the apparatuses of traditional cameras. I can remember the first time I got my first Pentax, and then got a Nikon. Yeah, I remember looking all the time at camera shops, for sale on, high quality 35 millimeter film. And we actually did real pictures back then. Today, think about this. This is what everyone uses. And even the cameras today, the Nikons, the Canons, are all CCD. They don't process film. So think about this again. Our reality is a digital reality. It's just metaphor. It's what it is. Because everyone takes, well, let's say not everyone. I see a lot of people. I don't like taking selfies. I mean, why would I want to take a picture of me? Just me. Do enough on this. I mean, look what I put you people through. But everybody does. And why we have cloud storages in there? And because that's where our memories are now. And we take our tablets and devices and our pictures are right there. But again, if something was ever to happen, man forbid, then you have no proof of your existence. Think about that. OMG. So, strange realities we live in, is it not? It really is. I am doing the show for the next installment on the Zephyr. Last night I was reading this, and let me just give you a real help. So when we think about, give me 1 second here. You should really start meditating. I'm trying to get the best example here for you. I mean, I could pull it up on the computer, right? But why do that? Sometimes going with the paper in hand. So start meditating on the tree of life. Go and find it. That's all over. Just go to Google Images and you can do it there. Just type in the tree of life, the Zephyr, and start just meditating on that. I get more and more why these Kabbalist mystics, the insight they had. I mean, when I look at this now and I let that image, there's times when I go to sleep, I'll actually be meditating on this. You want to know the path to finding the infinite being? Learn what others who were far more advanced. These cats, they were ascended, no doubt about it. There is wisdom here, folks. Great wisdom. And as you can see behind the whiteboard, God is a concept of the infinite being. God is a concept. There is something above God. Now, we're not trained to think like that. We are so regressed in the constructs that have been imposed upon us that then imprison the soul. Screw the mind. I mean, I see more people today that are electronically brainwashed. Yeah. And it's frightening. Because when that happens, you have a whole distorted view of reality. And this is where the problem comes in. Because that view of reality, in many cases, is exact the opposite of what humanity needs. We think that we have advanced ourselves because of our technology. But I put this forward and love to hear the debate on this. It is our technology that is our undoing. Our technology has now become our opiate. And we're so addicted to this heroin, this mind washing, this electromagnetic soup that we have now all are immersed in, is now impacting. It can't impact minds like my generation for the most part. It's an odd phenomenon. We were pre-microwave. We were pre-electromagnetic radiation. We were pre all of this. And in one case, that actually has immuned us. Let me tell you the other thing. I'm going to be very straight with you. And I'm not a proponent of this, but I'll also say my experiences in being trained in how to use it, but also I did it recreationally, of LSD. Now, that seems so counter, but let me tell you, before you ever venture into what psychedelics can do, and they're a great therapy if properly monitored and done correctly. But it's only a strong mind that can do that. I've seen it wreck more than a couple of weak minds. And a weak mind is an indication of an undeveloped soul. That's what happens. Because we have generations out there. They don't know they have a soul. And when you don't know that you have something, you don't make use of it. That's why we see such senseless and bizarre killings now taking place down at the age of 5 and 6. How does a 5-year-old commit murder? How does that even enter in to the soul? And today, you hear stories of so many of our youths that have become so integrated into AI. And that's what it is. We're fooling ourselves if you think that AI is still something futuristic. It's here. It is. It's here. And it's already impacting us, impacting our society. AI is now integrated into every aspect of our daily lives, meaning, and I'll list them off to you: financial markets, banking, transportation, agriculture, society, government, religion, politics. It's there. It sneaked up behind us. We created it, but we probably created it at someone else's direction. And when you start, even if you call it's intelligence. Now, if intelligence defines consciousness, then folks, we have an alien consciousness that has overtaken us. We traded one master for another. And the thing about masters, if they're not of your species, even if they are, they have a tendency to be duplicit, while offering you great benefits. But nothing in this life ever comes for free. If you think you're owed something, I can tell you the only thing you're really owed is your death. The rest you have to earn. And the thing is, if you give someone something and they become dependent on that giving, they won't respect it. It has no value because it didn't cost them anything. So why should it be of any value? And then in the midst of everything else that we're talking about, whether it be X-class flares, whether it's tsunamis, tidal waves, coastlines where the ocean's receding out. I mean, quite the roller coaster, isn't it? But we're going to see it through. We're going to continue to dig into the secrets of the past. My whole contention is this: if your beginning is wrong, then how can the end be right? Think about that. All right, folks, have a good day. Something comes out, I'll let you know. I will come back and start looking at this when we start seeing the first shock wave and see just how well does the Earth hold up. Hey, I'm pulling that the Earth is strong enough to rebuff this. Well, we're all going to find out real soon. All right, be kind to one another, and we will talk soon. Go over to Rex Bear's channel. Make sure you get a chance to go out there, and if you haven't subscribed, and really look forward to talking to Rex. He's always fun. All right, people, we'll talk soon.